My father left us poor. Then I learned the truth. The last thing my father ever gave me was a key. Not money, not a house, not an apology. Just a small rusted key hidden inside a wooden box. And at first, I almost threw it away because I hated my father. For 22 years, I believed he had abandoned us. I believed he had walked away from my mother, left us starving, and never looked back. I believed he didn't care whether we lived or died. Then I opened a door that key unlocked. And inside, I found proof that everything I knew was a lie. A lie so devastating that it shattered my entire life. Because the man I spent 22 years hating had secretly sacrificed everything for us. And by the time I discovered the truth, he was already dead. My name is Matteo Ricci. I grew up in Naples, Italy. When people think about Italy, they imagine beautiful coastlines, old churches, delicious food, and happy families. My childhood was none of those things. I remember winters without heating. I remember nights when my mother pretended she wasn't hungry so my sister and I could eat. I remember opening the refrigerator and finding only water. Most of all, I remember the silence whenever someone mentioned my father. His name was Lorenzo Ricci. But in our home, it was almost forbidden to say it. If I asked where he was, my mother Sophia would look away. If I asked why he left, she would change the subject. If I asked whether he loved us, tears would appear in her eyes. As a child, I thought she was protecting me. As an adult, I realized she was protecting a secret. A secret that would remain buried for decades. When I was 8 years old, I saw something that shaped the rest of my life. It was Parents' Day at school. Children arrived holding their father's hands. Some carried gifts. Others laughed together. I sat alone, watching, waiting, hoping. Maybe today he would come. Maybe today he would finally appear. But he never did. That afternoon, while everyone else celebrated with their families, I walked home alone. And somewhere during that walk, I made a promise. I would never forgive him. Never. Years passed. Our poverty became normal. My mother worked harder than anyone I have ever known. Every morning she left before sunrise. Every night she returned exhausted. Yet somehow she always smiled. I never understood how. One evening I found her crying quietly in the kitchen. She didn't notice me. In her hands was an old photograph, a picture of her and my father when they were young. For a moment she smiled at the image. Then she kissed it and hid it away. That confused me. If she hated him, why keep the photograph? But I was too young to understand. When I turned 16, something strange happened. A large envelope arrived in the mail. No return address, no name. Inside was cash, enough to cover several months of rent. My mother immediately hid it. When I asked where it came from, she answered too quickly. A friend. I didn't believe her, but I couldn't prove anything. A few months later, another envelope arrived. Then another. Then another. Every year. Always anonymous. Always enough money to help us survive. At the time, I thought it was charity. Years later, I would learn something very different. At 18, I left home. I wanted to escape poverty, escape memories, escape the shadow of a father who never existed. I worked construction, loaded trucks, delivered packages, slept in tiny apartments, sometimes worked 18 hours a day. Eventually, my hard work paid off. By 32, I owned a small logistics company. For the first time in my life, I felt successful. I bought my mother a better apartment, paid off her debts, made sure she never worried about food again. It felt like victory, like I had finally defeated the damage my father caused. Then one phone call destroyed everything. Mr. Matteo Ricci, speaking. My name is Carlo Bianchi. I'm calling regarding your father. The word father instantly irritated me. What about him? There was a pause, then the answer. I'm sorry. Lorenzo Ricci passed away last night. Silence. I expected sadness, anger, relief, something. Instead, I felt absolutely nothing. The man had been a stranger my entire life. How could I mourn a stranger? The caller continued. Your father requested that you receive his personal belongings. I almost refused, but curiosity stopped me. 3 days later, I attended the funeral. Only 7 people came. 7. For a moment, I felt justified. See? Even in death, nobody cared about him. Then an old woman approached me. She looked at me with tears in her eyes. You have his eyes. I said nothing. She squeezed my hand. Your father loved you more than you can imagine. I pulled away. Then why did he leave? The woman's expression changed. She looked shocked, as if she had just heard something impossible. Then she whispered, You really don't know. Before I could stop her, she walked away. Those 4 words haunted me. You really don't know? Know what? Later that day, a lawyer handed me a wooden box. Inside were photographs, hundreds of them. At first, they seemed ordinary. Cities, buildings, mountains, people. Then I found something strange. A photograph of me. I froze. I was about 8 years old, standing outside school. I turned it over. A date was written on the back. Then another photo. Age 10. Another. Age 13. Another. Age 16. Dozens. Maybe hundreds. My heart began racing. Someone had been watching me for years. The photographs continued into adulthood. University. Jobs. Even my first office. The realization terrified me. Someone had followed my entire life. And somehow, that someone was connected to my father. That night, I discovered the hidden compartment. Inside was a journal. The first page read, If Matteo ever finds this, then I have finally run out of time. My hands trembled. I turned the page and began reading. What followed shattered everything. Every belief, every memory, every accusation. 22 years earlier, my father had witnessed a murder connected to a powerful criminal organization. After agreeing to testify, authorities warned him that his family was now in danger. He was given an impossible choice. Stay with us and risk all our lives, or disappear forever. He chose to leave. Not because he didn't love us, because he loved us too much. I stopped reading. My eyes blurred with tears. For 22 years, I had hated him. For 22 years, I called him a coward. And now I was learning he had sacrificed everything. His marriage, his children, his future, everything, to keep us alive. But the biggest shock was still ahead, because hidden between the journal pages was a bank receipt and one handwritten sentence. The money was never anonymous. My heart pounded. The envelopes, the rent, the groceries, the help. It had all come from him, every year, for decades, without taking credit, without asking forgiveness, without expecting gratitude. He had been protecting us from the shadows, watching from a distance, making sure we survived, while allowing us to hate him. I sat there until sunrise, unable to move, unable to think. And then I noticed something else. Folded into the final page was the rusted key, and beneath it, an address in Switzerland, along with one final message. Matteo, if you truly want the truth, go there. Everything begins behind the blue door. And at that moment, I had no idea that the blue door would reveal one final secret. A secret so heartbreaking that I would spend the rest of my life trying to honor the man I once hated.